Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered here live by Ghost Chevrolet. Shout out to our crew over at Ghost Chevrolet, online, GEAUX, Chevrolet.com. Or if you're looking for a used car, check them out in LaPlace, Louisiana. Used car lot over here in Baton Rouge. Go Express Auto Sales. Happy Tuesday to you. We're live. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button here on this Tuesday. Today is Noah's birthday. Shout out to the meathead who turns 20 today, supersetting all day in the gym, grunting on every bench press that he throws up.
Is that what your birthday wish should be? Just to make as much noise as you can in the gym?
No squats, no legs. That's right. That's right.
If you're lifting heavy, you got to make a noise.
Happy birthday, buddy. Absolutely, man. Enjoy the day. Noah is a young, 20 years old, baby-faced, as he goes into his 20s.
No poison
here.
in the body.
That's right,
Just
man.
a pure 20-year-old. Might as well be 10. Tom Cruise is going to come get you. You're going to be a blood boy.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations for making it.
Yeah.
20 years.
No kid.
Yeah,
No kid.
Hey, shout out to you. Good for you.
What a present for your birthday.
Right, exactly.
Jamil is here. Stewie is here. Lloyd is here. Carpool Queen will be here around 8-ish, as she is, I believe today is the last day of Carpool, the last official day of Carpool. So shout out to all the carpoolers out there, whether you're a mom or dad who've been driving the kids all year long. I think today you're about to get some relief. Summer plans heading at you. We're going to talk to Ross Jackson, see what the summer plans are for the New Orleans Saints as the Saints enter OTAs today. Mike Thomas in the building. We'll talk to Jackson of Locked On Saints podcast, which is a fantastic listen. Make sure you are checking our guy out over at Locked On Saints. Ross Jackson will be here coming up at 8:15 this morning. We'll talk to Ross. A lot of playmakers on offense, some of the new faces on defense. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry. We'll also get his thoughts on what could be next for the Saints. I don't think that they're done with some of their offseason signings. Shea Dixon going to be in studio with us, and Shea's got a great write-up right now over at Go247 if you want to check it out. On our guy Tackett Curtis, who was in town over the weekend, and Tackett talking about how LSU has made their way back into the mix, back as a hopeful choice for Curtis as he's coming out of Manny High School going into his senior season. Top 5 recruit in the state of Louisiana here in 2023. We'll ask Shea what the weekend was like for Tackett and some of the offseason plans with the camps coming up here for LSU and how they're going to make their move on this class of 23. As always, if you have a question for Ross Jackson, if you have a question for Shea Dixon, Ross obviously talking about the New Orleans Saints. Shea, as always, covering recruiting as good as anybody, going to be in here at 8:30. If you have a question for any of them, hashtag Ask Ross, hashtag Ask Shea. Jamil and Noah will make sure and keep up with those, and we will ask those questions coming up here when they run through here at 8:15 and 8:30 this morning. Ross is going to be on the phone line. He'll be via video. That's brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Shout out to our crew over at Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Congratulations to the Harveys who just graduated their daughter over at St. Joseph Academy and is entering a summer going into LSU. So shout out to Metropolitan Health Group as always for supporting us here. And True Blue Water, TRU, bluewater.com, as they are always providing our water. And if you want to get on the delivery route, you can. Just jump online and check it out. A couple of awards handed out to LSU baseball yesterday, and looking forward to our conversation tomorrow. We'll go to Hoover, and tomorrow morning, Peter Burns of the SEC Network will join us from the Hoover Met, getting us ready for LSU as they wait and find out who they are going to play, whether it's going to be Auburn or Kentucky. And speaking of Auburn, Dylan Cruz was named co-SEC Player of the Year yesterday. He shared that with Auburn's first baseman, but Cruz has been steadily over the last month the best player in the conference, it feels like. He leads the SEC in home runs with 21. Runs scored, he scored 63. He's number 2 in the league in triples, number 2 in total bases, number 2 in ribbies, number 3 in hits, number 4 in slugging percentage, as he was named the SEC Co-Player of the Year alongside Sonny DeShera, the big first baseman for Auburn, whose numbers are really good. I think that we were talking as a staff here before we went on this morning. I really do feel like Cruz was the conversation that brought up the co-player of the year. I think DeShera really kind of had this thing locked down, probably around the midway point of the year. But like I said, over the last couple of weeks, man, Cruz has just been on a tear. I mean, he has been knocking the cover off the ball, and I don't think that the SEC offices could ignore that, right? I mean, look, Cruz is very deserving, but I think that, DeShera was kind of the odds-on favorite and the leader in the clubhouse the entire time, and kind of had the award sewn up pretty early, and it was going to take something pretty heroic to knock DeShera out of getting that award by himself, but Cruz did that. I mean, he had that type of the last couple of weeks where he feels like he's the best player in the country right
Absolutely. That's what I kind of was going to give some pushback on him being co-player of the year. I mean, obviously the big ball from Auburn's been, like you said, ripping the cover off the ball. But when you just look at Dylan Cruz on the face of it, it's hard to see anybody better in the country. He almost won the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Like when you look at, he's top 5 in every stat. He's second or third in what would be a Triple Crown like winning statistic. It just seems like it was a no-brainer for me, but obviously I haven't paid that much attention to Auburn baseball. I just saw the Big Daddy whenever he came in to the box.
And look, I know that as Hunter Fournette points out, the numbers in SEC play are really not comparable. When you look at the overall comparison of them. But Dylan Cruz, either way, is going to take home the hardware for the Player of the Year, and he feels like he is on a tear to probably be in the mix for like the Golden Spikes Award. I mean, I know that he was listed as a finalist earlier this week, but he feels like that if he continues on this pace of what he's been playing in the last couple of weeks, I mean, he may waltz up and grab the Golden Spikes Award as well. So we'll have to see.
Is the Golden Spikes and like all the baseball awards similar to the football awards? Does anybody know? Where it's kind of what you did last year or the previous year, kind of like how they do.
I don't know.
Give it to a junior.
I don't know.
Because I think of like Grant Delpit. Whenever I think of awards, I go to football. But I didn't know if they're going to give it to a junior just because he's probably going to leave. Dylan Cruz will be here next year, and then that's when he'll get his Golden Spikes.
Incredible that Cruz is going to be here next year.
That's really not fair.
It's almost like,
it's
almost illegal. It should be illegal.
He needs the Maurice Claret.
Yeah.
I mean,
and just declare.
Did we feel like this about Bregman? I don't remember feeling like Bregman like, wow, like it's going to be incredible that this guy, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, you knew you were watching greatness, right? I mean, like, you could see it in front of your eyes. I just don't remember being, like, this embarrassed that this guy is going to be back for another season. Like, I mean, how much better can he get? But we've usually not seen this. That it's tough. It's tough to mirror what you've done when you come back for your final year just because of the expectation now that's going to be on him.
Well, I even thought it was going to be tough to mirror what he did last year. Because, I mean, he played so well last year. I was like, now that we have, like, Jacob Berry coming in, I thought there was potential that he could get, like, overshadowed in some ways. And then, he comes out and has a season like this. So, I mean, we obviously knew we were watching a professional in Alex Bregman. But I don't know if he was as offensively gifted as Dylan Cruz. Because, I mean, he makes it look like he's not even trying.
Yeah.
Like he's running around the base passes giggling after he hits 470.
He looks like a professional.
Right.
He looks like a professional playing a kid sport.
He also looks like he is like a
put together.
Like he looks like he would be good in basketball, football, like soccer. I mean,
great ass.
Great ass.
It's all about the ass, man.
I mean, unanimous.
Right.
Great ass. I mean, we sung that song
first
in unison.
team, yes.
Yeah.
But if you look at some of the numbers, so the last 2 years, Bregman was, when he went to LSU, his 3 years, he batted .369 his freshman year, which is unbelievable, .316, .312. Dylan Cruz, in his 2 years here, .362 and .345. So, I mean, that's when you compare, I mean, that's the third overall pick, I believe, was Bregman, second. And then this is going to be, he's going to go 1-1 next year. He's the first overall pick, no doubt.
He'd go 1-1 this year.
Yeah, I think he could sit, and he would still be able to go probably first overall next year, but he's not going to do that. NIL plays a little factor, and he loves the game.
Yeah.
We just got to get Barry back.
Bregman's freshman year was his best year. Like, looking back on it, he was great all 3 years, right? But his freshman season, he really was like that just, wow. I mean, look at this kid. He's so good. Cruz feels like he's like getting better.
Right.
I mean, he's
It's unreal.
it is unreal.
And he's hot at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Whenever going into SEC play, like the SEC tournament, and that's when you have all eyes on you. It's kind of a little bit like you see in the NBA playoffs when we talked about Brandon Ingram. Like, this is a star turn. Dylan Cruz is getting to that point if they're able to make some noise, not only in Hoover, but when you get to regional play, super regional play, and if he's able to get to Omaha, all eyes are going to be on Dylan Cruz. It's going to be a national thing if they're able to make that run.
I think LSU baseball is peaking at the right time. Like, I mean,
I
you've
kinda
seen
do
it the
too.
last few. I mean,
Yeah.
last weekend before this weekend was kind of bad, but they turned it over and they went to Vandy and swept, and they look good.
they
look like they're
do have a
getting in
little
that
bit
prime
of
position.
a they do have a little bit of a
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
no doubt they do have a kind of a little bipolar personality to them where as soon as you want to buy in,
They'll get
as
you.
soon as you want to, you know what I mean, I'm riding with you. They'll get swept by Ole Miss at home.
I think I'm just going to keep dating her.
Right. Cody Boudreaux, who was the catcher from Florida State, he was drafted by San Francisco. Buster Posey.
Posey.
Yeah, Buster Posey. It felt illegal that he came back for his junior year. Blind Eye Sports says, I thought Dylan was eligible for the draft this year. I believe this is his third year. You're incorrect, Blind Eye Sports. He is not draft eligible, which is scary to say out loud. He feels like he would be 1-1 today if the MLB draft was held like tonight. It feels like he'd go first overall.
Imagine him next year on campus. He's not going to have anything to do except play baseball because you don't have to worry about graduating. Like, I'm going to go first in the draft.
Right.
I don't know what they do on the baseball team. I imagine they go out and have a good time. I'd imagine Dylan Cruz might be the ringleader of that thing.
Football
next year.
season for baseball players is like heaven.
Heaven.
Like,
I bet it is.
do whatever I want. It's fall ball. Like, it really don't matter.
Where'd you get
Tailgating.
that? Oh,
Yeah. First time I
man.
met Paul Gervais was at a tailgate
There you
for
go.
a football
Easy,
game. I was
easy,
like,
easy.
easy, bro.
well, it's impossible not to notice
No,
Paulie
I was just
G.
walking by and I'm like, how tall are you? Like,
You pulling any
basketball?
trouble out here?
No, he's good. He's good. He wasn't drinking. He's just with the boys,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. See, if they're smart, they don't out themselves and wear the team polo.
Yeah,
you got to like kind of lurk in the shadows, wear something else.
Probably tough for
nondescript.
Gervais to blend in.
Right.
But that's the thing about a baseball player. You can kind of float in.
Oh, yeah.
Put a hat
I'm a
low.
regular guy.
Bianco. I hope he's got to come
I mean,
back too.
Dylan-
He's got another year.
If
So
you,
does Joe Bear.
but if you see Dylan Cruz in like street clothes, you just think he was just a regular dude.
Except
Like,
he's
just
just
like a
in
dude's
phenomenal shape.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great ass.
Great ass.
Right. Definitely.
He must work out.
I'd crane the neck.
Yeah,
on the walk by.
absolutely.
Like, damn.
It's
Damn,
the
bro.
meme.
Well, I had a class with him, so he'd walk by and I'd be
You
like,
probably couldn't see over him when he sat
wow,
down.
this guy's ass is great. Like, this guy is
I got a
great
seat
ass.
right here.
Yeah. Can I sit next to Dylan? I'm just going to look at his ass.
Put your hand in the seat.
Right. I'm going to smell your seat after
Sorry,
this.
buddy.
Drop some gum.
Braden Joe Bear was named SEC Player of the Week after tying a single-season LSU record for ribbies. He had 9 batted in versus Vanderbilt on Saturday. Over the weekend, Joe Bear was 6 of 12 from the plate against Vanderbilt with 10 ribbies, a triple, a double, and 3 home runs, including a grand slam.
Is that good?
Joe Bear. He's another one that's coming back. I guess next year. I mean, I hate to wait till next year, guy, but I mean, LSU baseball feels like that they're going to be
Loaded.
pretty dangerous next year.
Well, Jay Johnson came on mic'd up yesterday, and that's kind of, he wasn't saying that, but he was saying it's good to be able to wake up on Monday or Sunday morning and see that the sky hasn't fallen yet. It's like talking to LSU fans a little bit. He's going to be here for a long time, and he's going to recruit his ass off. He's got the #1 recruiting class in the country. If you don't like Jay Johnson, you better get on board. Like,
Yeah.
This is the kind of baseball you're going to be seeing. They flipped the defense around a little bit. Got Collier Cranford out there. They've made some strides on the defensive end. If they're going to hit like this, they're going to be a problem. Maybe the most dangerous team in the
Jacob
tournament.
Berry's not coming back, right?
He could.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
I mean, the only reason would be if you wants to be top 3 instead of top 10. You know what I mean? Because
so he's not guaranteed #1 right now.
I don't.
No.
I
I
think.
they have
I
him
think,
projected
I,
as
I
like
think when
10.
they saw him defensively at
Yeah.
the start of the season through that, he kind of dropped a little bit. And it's all that he is a switch hitter, but he's obviously stronger on
And
one
he's
side.
hurt. He's not going to be able to put his best foot forward. He should come back, put a whole year together.
What a game of what if. Because I mean, like, Morgan's back, right?
Yeah, Moore's true
Yeah,
sophomore.
I mean, he's like Dylan Cruz.
I mean, that was the debate their freshman year was Trey Morgan or Dylan Cruz.
Right.
And Trey Morgan's been hurt all year, and he's still playing great.
Hunter Fournette says no shot whatsoever.
Well, I know that.
Put it on the poll.
Yes.
Gonna put it in the
Will Jacob Berry come back for a magical run for LSU
Yeah,
baseball
put it
next
all
season?
together. One last ride for the boys. Go back to back.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, online at CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with our friends over there at Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Best way to do it is online, as we said, at CajunRMC.com. Doesn't matter the size and scope of the job, whether it's industrial, residential, municipal, they can help you out today. They have 9 concrete plants around the Baton Rouge location, greater Baton Rouge location, which means that if you order concrete, you'll get it to your job site, to your house, to your project, on time and to the exact specification. Online, CajunRMC.com. Remember, get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix about all your concrete needs. As we say, you get high-quality products, red carpet surface, and clear safety standards every time you deal with the pros over at Cajun Ready Mix, CajunRMC.com. Our poll question is up, and remember, our poll question daily is brought to you by our friends over at Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. Summer is here. Sunshine is out. It is hot. If you need some sunglasses, whether it's for a beach and a weekend trip, or you got baseball games that you're tracking down. I know the kids are playing in the World Series and going all over the South right now, and you need a new pair of shades. Save yourself 20% by using the Jordy Culotta Show promo code over at our friends at Southern Eye Center on Jefferson Highway. Go see Dr. Ann Shaw and her great team over there. They've got a wide selection of sunglasses, all of the name brands, and if you mention the show, you save yourself 20%. Go into Southern Eye Center on Jefferson Highway. Great new office and location right there on the backside of the of Whole Foods and around that area. But Southern Eye Center on Jefferson. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and save yourself money on a fantastic selection of sunglasses.
Well, Keith Law, who I think is like baseball old guard, if I remember correctly, has Jacob Berry going first overall in his mock draft.
Come back, Jacob.
Yeah, you can improve upon that
Absolutely.
stock. Hitting 380 with 15 tugs. Jesus.
From both sides of the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Where would he play defensively?
He's going to be a DH.
In the league?
Yeah.
What a great life.
And the
What
new
a
rule change.
great life.
Yeah, the new
Don't they
rule
have a
change helps him
universal?
phenomenally. Yeah, that's going to help him out tremendously. That's what makes him be able to go first overall. I
Wait,
imagine.
what?
There's a
The
universal
DH.
Oh,
now.
they're cross. They're doing it in both the AL
Yeah.
and NL.
Division, yeah.
Wow.
Unless you're Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. What? Wait, does he get to like when he pitches? He gets to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
They used to put him in the lineup. There's some weird Shohei rule I don't want to get into because I don't know it.
Yeah, I don't know it either.
Rules of baseball, bro.
Ugh.
All of them.
Make
They're
your head explode.
Extremely weird. But if you could master one trade as a professional, would it be pitching or would it be DH? I mean, because if you're a pitcher, you only work every 5th day. And if you're really good at it, I mean, look at Gaussman.
Yeah.
I mean, Gaussman making $100 million, works every 5 days, and when he goes out there, he's the best at what he does. I mean, that's a really good life. You know what I mean? I know that he's like got to do rehab and he's got to keep himself in shape and he, I mean, all that stuff. But I mean, when you got $20 million coming
But
in.
I mean, like if you're the pitcher, everything falls on you. Every time when you go out there,
Okay,
every
but I'm
5
talking
days,
about if we're
it's on your
elite
arm.
at both. If we are elite at both. If I'm a DH, you're in the lineup every day. I don't have to stress shag and fly balls pregame. All I got to worry about is hitting. But I'm really good at it, which is hitting is a tough. That's probably the toughest thing to do in sports. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's like probably like well known. That'd be the first overall pick is hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports
Sure.
or
I
boxing.
heard hitting a softball is really hard,
Oh,
like from a
imagine.
softball pitcher.
But if for this debate, I would go relief pitcher. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You just get to come in whenever they call your number, pitch 3 pitches, go play golf.
Put it on the poll, Stu.
No, you have to throw an inning now. Relief pitchers have to throw an inning.
No, you
Full
can't go
inning.
specialist.
No,
Oh,
you have to
okay.
go full inning.
All right,
Like a
I'll
setup?
go 3.
Yeah.
Better poll question for you. If you could, if you were elite at both, which would you rather be? A Major League Baseball pitcher or a designated hitter? I mean, you get the glory of being in the lineup every day.
Yeah, you get to hang out in the dugout with the boys.
Right, absolutely.
So
You
you're
got
part
the
of the
respect of
squad.
the locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably considered an athlete. But I mean, I think that there's a debate on whether or not pitchers are true athletes.
Yeah, but if you're the stud
Sure.
pitcher
Yeah.
walking around the locker room, you can go drawers out. Like you can just like that's like
Absolutely.
Max Scherzer, I'd imagine, walks around the locker room and they're like, get out of Mad Max's way. Like you have the ultimate respect if you're
Aaron
dealing.
Nola, elite athlete?
I wouldn't say he's an elite athlete. He's just really good at pitching. And, I mean, he has a great arm. I don't know.
I mean,
Really
Doug
great
Thompson
stuff.
during his time was like an elite athlete. Like he was a football player and a basketball player. Now I knew he was a kicker, but I mean, like that's what he played in college. But when he was coming up, he was like the quarterback and the safety and he kind of did everything, and then he went out on the baseball field and, like, threw 95, which, you know, during those days, that was, like, unheard of. Now everybody throws 100, but I know that there's a great debate within the community on overall are baseball pitchers athletes.
I view your athleticism off of what you can do in other sports.
Me too.
So, like, if Nola can play basketball, I'd give him his athletic ability.
But don't we define athleticism as hand-eye coordination?
Absolutely, yeah.
Isn't hand-eye coordination like? I mean, to me, to figure out if somebody is athletic is just throw them something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, see how they react to catch it. I mean, if somebody's like, you're like, oh, okay, last pick. You know what I mean?
I think I know what you're talking about. I saw it happen.
Right.
But
or you know, like, throw me that.
yeah,
Or
quick
ask
to
somebody throw
judge
you.
too.
Yes.
It'll out yourself really quick, especially in that kind of this arena. Like if you're in the sports talk, whatever arena, it's like, did you even play the game?
Right.
Put your hand in the dirt.
I always ask. I always got to know. Like,
Yeah.
did you really play? Did you start or did you sit the bench?
Then you just give them the toss
Did
and
you
see how
play
they.
JV as a junior?
Yeah. Oof.
Oof.
Then you give them the
That's
toss
what
and
we
see how they throw it back.
Right.
And then test, pass or fail. There's no in between. Yeah. Oh, Stewie's out there on huddle.
Depends on if they catch it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. If they catch it,
if
that's
they
not-
catch it, you're like, okay, let me see a link. Send me a link.
Toss that right back. And it comes out like this. Oh,
That's why.
I see you. I see you.
Back up, wide out. DB.
Didn't have a brother.
That's right. Remember, Daily Word brought to you by Johnson and Spillers. They are our dentist over there. 2 locations, Gonzales and in Baton Rouge. All of your dentist needs, no matter if it's general dentistry, stop in and see our friends over at Johnson and Spillers. They offer Botox over there as well. Look, the tooth implant has been fantastic. Still getting compliments on the smile. All courtesy of Johnson and Spillers. Check them out online, johnsonspillers.com. johnsonspillers.com is where you can find them
Have
online.
you been going like running into people that you haven't seen in a while
Yes.
on purpose? Like,
Absolutely.
has anything changed about me?
No. Not the
You don't
purpose.
say it, but you smile
people,
a little
like, people
bigger.
pointed out. You know what I mean? I think it was really kind of. I mean, we were headed down a bad slope for the last 6 months.
Your teeth were falling out of your mouth,
I mean,
dude.
they
It
were
doesn't get
absolutely-
much worse
I mean,
than
it
that.
was. I had a snaggletooth, bro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
I could see everybody's reaction when I was in there. You know, like people that hadn't seen me for a while, or like kind of a first time introduction. I mean, that's exactly where people's eyes would go. Just like, whoa,
Straight to the teeth.
yeah, like what's up, man?
Man's missing teeth.
Right.
Welcome to my world.
Jordy, you been all right?
What's
You
going
good?
on, man? Yeah, I mean, do you have a meth problem?
Yeah.
Because your teeth are falling
out
out.
of your mouth during live on television.
Yeah. No, I mean, we had tooth issues for sure.
If you had to pick one, you could have fixed your teeth, or you could have a head of hair. No shots. I'm just wondering, because you've had hair.
Sounds like a shot, Lord.
It's not a shot. I could go bald any day,
Yeah. This
and
is
I would
true.
And
look
what? You're putting me
awful.
back with the dead tooth?
Yeah, you got to pick one.
No, I got to go tooth, bro.
Yeah, you
That
can't
was
fix
that was
that.
a lonely feeling.
Yeah,
That was an island.
it had
You
to
know
be
what I mean? Like-
every morning.
I mean, that was an island that you knew you were just gonna have to wake up and go to sleep on every day.
Yeah.
There was nothing you could do about it. I mean,
Exactly.
there was no life raft around you that was gonna save you.
Did you? Yeah, that's not even a real community around. Like,
No,
Missing
I
teeth.
mean,
that-
everybody is pointing and looking at the island.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
did you continue to brush them, or just Listerine?
No, you had to brush.
You got to
bro.
brush,
I
bro.
mean, you got to.
Well, I don't know if they're like that feeble. If they were all like a little loose.
It was. No, I mean it was hairy times. No pun intended. But I mean it was stressful. But you know what? That's why I went to the pros at Johnson and Spillers. Dr. Spillers was a professional the entire time and told me about the entire process. He was like, "Bro, this is going to take a minute." You know what I mean? Because when we do the tooth implant, we got to like kill this tooth, and we got to like regenerate tissue in your gum. I mean, you know, all the technical stuff. But he did it, man, start to finish, and exactly what he said was going to happened. And now I walk around and people act like I'd never had a dead tooth, and that they don't remember that. You know, I mean, I didn't have this snaggle tooth when I looked at him for the last year. So it's all good. So we got Shea Dixon coming up here at 8:30 this morning. If you have any recruiting questions, get inside of the chat app, and we will ask Shea. Hashtag Ask Shea. But as we said over the weekend, a lot of ground made up with Tackett Curtis. And as far as the big board is concerned for LSU football, I'd imagine that Tackett Curtis has got to be 1 or 2 on the board. I think that there is a feeling inside of the facility and inside the program that these quarterbacks who are, right now they're the top of the class for recruits in 2023. I think they feel like that it's going to be a long shot to land any of them, right? To land either Arch Manning or Eli Holstein. I think that they've kind of taken in that it's not going to be LSU. They're going to be in an absolute war with Texas A&M over Shelton Sampson. And I don't know if it's going to come down to NIL and money, but I'd imagine that that's going to be a part of what they're going to have to compete with Shelton Sampson. Sampson is in Baton Rouge. He's the number one wide receiver in the country. He, by LSU standards, by the way that we judge LSU football in recruiting, is an absolute must-get. In your backyard at a position in need, he's the best in the country. Shelton Sampson needs to be an LSU Tiger if you are the coaching staff. They're going to be in a war for Sampson. It feels like Derek Williams is going to be a hell of a fight with Alabama too. I think that Sampson's going to be a fight with Texas A&M. I think that Derek Williams and Jaden Ausberry is going to be a fight with Alabama. By all accounts, Nick Saban has fallen in love with Ausberry over the last couple of weeks.
Presidential.
He fits that. What's he call that? That drop safety is the money
Jack linebacker.
The money spot. The Jack linebacker.
Yeah.
He says Ausberry fits it to a T. How can you not listen when Saban is talking about putting you in a specialty spot in a defensive role? Obviously, Saban's relationship with Verge Ausberry goes back 25 years. Goes back, 2 decades. So
he loves them U-High linebackers.
well, he loves to
Tim Williams,
He loves to needle.
Christian Harris.
Yeah.
Christian Harris was a
Dylan
huge
Moses.
miss by LSU.
Yeah.
Didn't they not even offer him?
They didn't offer him because he didn't work out at the camp.
Oh,
Yeah.
God forbid.
Most athletic kid I've probably ever seen in my
Now
life.
playing with the Houston Texans alongside Stingley. In fact, I saw their dad put out a picture of Stingley and Harris. Mr. Harris put it out of kind of like the back of them walking out to the Texans facility with Harris and Stingley on the back of their jersey, heading out to OTAs, which was a really cool shot of the two Baton Rouge natives going to play professional football together. But, yes, Saban loves to kind of pinpoint somebody in Louisiana and go get them. Like he did that to Shaz Preston last year. He did that to Landon Collins. He did that to Cameron Robinson. He's done that countless times where he just zeroes in on one and says, we are going to get them. Now, in some years, he'll come in here and get Hootie Jones too. He'll get Kendrick Law too. He'll get he'll get others that he wants to pick up. But, in the Tim Williams case, in the Dylan Moses case, a lot like what it sounds like what he's doing with Jaden Ausberry, he's kind of zeroing in on Ausberry. So it's going to be, it's going to be a stiff fight on where they stick. Tackett Curtis is the next guy on the board as far as the top prospects in the state, right? A lot of people have Arch Manning. Eli Holstein's made an incredible jump this summer, and the summer hadn't even really started, but up to this point, this spring, 7-on-7 circuit, some of the camps that he's already been to, he's having a tremendous summer, and his name is skyrocketing up recruiting boards, both nationally and here in the state. Obviously, Arch is the top spot. I think Eli Holstein is considered to be 1A. I think that if you're looking for a quarterback, people are kind of feeling like you can't miss with either one. But after that, Shelton Sampson at 2, Derek Williams, the safety out of Westgate, is 3. Jaden Ausberry is up there, and then Tackett Curtis is top on the list. And Curtis is a guy that we'll talk a lot more with Shea Dixon, who had a chance to track down Curtis and some of the family members around him that have executive roles at Manny High School, and the long lineage of the Curtises and what they mean to high school football. And there never has been a pipeline from one of the first families in high school football in the state of Louisiana, J.T. Curtis, and all of his offspring, all of his people that are out there leading other programs, there's never been a direct tie from them to LSU. LSU's gotten a couple of players here and there, but I mean, they've never been consistent on nabbing John Curtis's or some of those prospects out of that camp to go to LSU. You know, I mean, obviously Joe McKnight went to USC, never had a chance. LSU did. Jonathan Wells, even back in the day, was a big-time recruit. He ended up at Ohio State. You know, I mean, LSU has gotten players like Malachi Dupree from John Curtis. But, you know, I mean, they've also missed on guys and not hitting them every time. My point being is that Tackett Curtis and his family, who have such a great lineage within high school football, and their name means so much to high school football in the state of Louisiana, they've never really been tight with LSU. I'm sure that JT has a great relationship with a lot of people up there just because of who he is and his legacy within the sport. But overall, as far as the working relationship, sending players to LSU out of one of the more dominant high school programs in our state, it's never really been an inroad that LSU has counted on or that JT Curtis and John Curtis has really fed. Not that either one has the responsibility to do so. You just usually see with some of the top programs in the state, the flagship university is usually directly tied or at least has a really nice inroad. Think about Edna Carr in LSU. I mean, now that Frank Wilson's back in the office, I feel like all those relationships between, you know, inner New Orleans city schools and, you know, those schools on the West Bank that LSU rely on year in, year out to give you some type of players and prospects are all going to be tightened up. And there's going to be some type of like inroad for LSU to kind of, they know they can count on to bring in. And in this case, I think that this staff recognizes they got to start building that relationship with everybody around Tackett Curtis, not just for Tackett, but for the future of their job security. Manny High School and what they're doing up there, I mean, they're putting players.
Unbelievable.
They are. They're
It's a
doing
factory.
it. Yeah, I mean, well, you know, you got a Curtis leading the place, and they've never really hidden the formula.
Well, it says his sister and his brother went to LSU,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they have the relationship, I guess, kind of, you know, from the school part of it. So I guess it's just getting the football coaches involved and letting them speak to him and see where his head's at, because he says he wants to make a decision by the end of the summer.
And I thought that there were some really good quotes that came out of it from Tackett Curtis. He told Shea at Go 247, there was definitely a flip in my mindset before and after the visit. I was like, man, I'm so glad I went. I really enjoyed it. He went on to say, Coach House was the highlight of the trip for me. The type of person he is and the passion he was showing for wanting me and just the energy he had wanting to get me. It was huge. He never left my side. He was with me the whole day. He wanted to show me what LSU was about and why they wanted me so much. It was really just good being around him, and he's passionate. I mean, he's jumping around the room and punching on me. It was great. He's coming after me hard, and I'm wanting to build that relationship. So LSU is trying to make up a lot of ground that they have lost in this recruitment with Tackett Curtis that I feel like it's by the sound of the quotes, obviously, it sounds like LSU is giving him something to think about, if nothing else. I think for a long time he's been considered a heavy Ohio State lean. But we'll ask Shea coming up here at 8:30. And if there's anybody else that you're curious about, this would be the time to ask. This is about to be the off season where, you know, these prospects start to hit the camps, man. Guys like, you know, Zalance Hurd and Omarion Miller, who's a commitment to this class of 2023. Trey Holly, who we saw commit just a couple of weeks back. Curly Reed, the defensive back out of Lake Charles, who we saw limit his schools or drop down his schools to a couple that featured LSU. Kylan Jackson, the safety out of Zachary, who's starting to create some buzz out there. I think he's a name to watch out for here in the recruiting season, as he's a guy that's about to hit the camp circuit. You know, I mean, we were talking about Christian Harris. For whatever reason, the past LSU coaching staff puts so much on a premium. And look, I think that there's a lot of value that comes to working out in front of coaches at that camp, at the LSU camp, because, you know, as a coach, you can kind of say to a prospect, do this, do that. I want to see you do this. We were all out there when Quincy Wiggins and Will Campbell were going one-on-one. I mean, that was as intense of a rep and reps that you'll ever see in summer. But you got coaches, you know, I mean, hanging all over these guys and telling them what they want to see, and you can really evaluate this stuff while you're filming it. So, I mean, a lot of these guys are about to hit these camps, and some people are going to either fizzle out or some people are just going to explode. And, you know, that's the time of the recruiting season that we're walking into.
But you can't tell me that Tackett Curtis had his brother, who currently goes to LSU, his sister went to LSU, and he wasn't going to football games the entire time. Like, he obviously has to have some sort of, like, love for LSU. If your brother goes there, you go to games every Saturday, and I'd imagine the conversation was, well, they're not talking to me. And now the fact that you've kind of kicked that door in, that relationship's going to open up, and I think it's going to be almost like, I've been waiting for this, like love at first sight, you would hope.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's the prototypical kid that wants to go to LSU, you would imagine.
You would think. Donnie T.
Gonna
LSU got to stop acting like the school is going to shut down if they miss on a recruit. Nobody's acting like that, man. Nobody's acting
No,
like
but
that.
there is some credence
But
to...
you got to get these. You can't go 2 recruiting cycles in a row where you miss on the nucleus of Louisiana kids. You can't hit on some and you can't miss on others in back-to-back classes. It's just it's hard to, in my mind, withstand. And I think you saw Brian Kelly make some comments earlier this week where he said, look, they had some Louisiana kids leave the state and go be team captains on different teams. You know, I mean, those are the type of guys that you got to get. Tackett Curtis feels like one of those guys. You let him go 3 years from now, he'll be representing his school at a, you know, I mean, if he goes to Ohio State, he'll be at Big Ten Media Days. He'll be a captain on Ohio State's defense. He feels like that type of guy. Jaden Ausberry.
Golly.
I mean, Jaden Ausberry feels like he's going to be a captain wherever he goes. You go watch him play, even as a junior last year with his, you know, D1 defensive back brother on the defense. Jaden Ausberry is the one that was calling it. When the huddle broke or when the other team got to the line of scrimmage, Jaden Ausberry was the one that was lining everybody up. And that's not taking anything away from that talented U-High defense. It's just he's the one they trust.
Yeah, and he wasn't the only Division I player on that front seven. Like, they had a Purdue commit, I want to say, at defensive end or edge.
The freshman and sophomore class at University High right now, they're back.
Yeah.
U-High is back. Like, they are going to be – they won the state championship last year.
With freshmen and sophomores.
They're about to go on a dynasty-type run, and they're going to be built around their defense. And, I mean, Ausberry goes to Auburn. Jaden's going to be a top 5 recruit. You've got a freshman and sophomore class. I mean, Keelan Moses, the defensive end, Dylan's younger brother, he looks like the Terminator right now.
Talk about Alabama, you know, picking guys that they're going to lock in on Nick Saban, choosing somebody. I mean, Keelan Moses is that exactly.
Yeah, he offered him last year.
Yeah.
Like, he's already.
Well, so did LSU.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, but he's one of those guys that you don't have to see work out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
No. You see him in pads, you're like,
absolutely
all right.
offer that guy. You know what I mean? Son, do you want to go to LSU? But you're
I play football.
You're seeing.
No, you do now.
You're seeing. You're seeing this freshman and sophomore class around the state. I mean, I've talked to people down in New Orleans that say Carr's freshman class is like spectacular. I mean, like defensive linemen, defensive ends, wide receivers, all of them down there in that class. And if you got Uncle Frank pitching the message from LSU to Edna Carr, you got advantage. You got advantage even over Saban and his crew. But
That seems to be the only one, right? That's your ace in the hole.
Yeah.
But if Nick Saban's going to cut, I don't think people realize I'm sure they do, but the importance of having Louisiana kids stay in Louisiana. That was Ed Orgeron's credo. That was the reason he got the job. And you see what happened whenever Louisiana kids started to leave and started to go to Alabama. You were getting beat by people from your own state. Like, that's what Nick Saban lives for. He knows how to recruit Louisiana because he's been here before. He has the inroads. He has the relationships. Like, Brian Kelly needs to realize how important it is because, like you said, if you miss on 2 straight cycles, look at the kids they pulled last year. Those guys are going to be starting, like, they're going to be making impact plays against LSU, and you'll be like, why wasn't he here? Shaz wanted to come to LSU. They all wanted to come to LSU, but it was so fucked that they couldn't. So now that you have to rebuild this fence, you can't let Louisiana be out of sight, out of mind just because you're behind on these kids.
No, it is. It's and look, I don't think that you got to take everybody who's Louisiana. I'm not saying that. You have to be selective, but year in, year out, you usually got to land on the top 8. I mean, usually the majority of the top 8 are D1 prospects. Year in, year out. I mean, can't we call that the average number? Some year might have 15, 16. Some years might have 6 or 7. But all in all, on average, there's about 8 D1 high-end prospects per year in a Louisiana recruiting cycle. There's some other guys that you go out there and you evaluate and say, look, he's a good fit for our program. But usually the top 8, you can just slide them in no matter the position, rank, or where they are, and they're going to help you. And 2 years in a row, you can't miss on the nucleus of those guys. And last year was one of those years where they had, 25 high-end D1 players. And LSU was able to hit on a lot of the big ones, but they still missed out on some that they needed. I mean, Jacoby Matthews would be a day one, play one starter for LSU if he was in the boat. It feels like, for what they need at safety, or at least he'd be in the competition to be there. I mean, Emory Jones, Will Campbell, these guys are going to play. I know they're loaded at wide receiver, but I mean, Aaron Anderson would probably be returning punts.
I think he would be starting at LSU.
He'd be returning punts for sure.
No doubt.
But he definitely has some playing time there for him. Like, because what he was doing at Alabama was, like, the stuff that he put out from his spring at Alabama, he looked great. Like,
yeah.
He was doing this against their first-team defense, too.
Tyreek Hill 2.0.
Yeah.
He's the same player.
He's that guy. LSU has pumped out as good a wide receivers as any college in the country, but that's the guy they haven't had.
He's electric.
Like they had JoJo Earl committed to the class for a long time. Bama swooped in on signing day and took him away. He feels like he's that type of player. I don't know if he's he
might not have that stuff.
I don't know if he got
Anderson
that
has.
juice that Aaron Anderson has. You know what I mean? Anderson feels like a video game. It almost looks like he's sliding out there. He's not even running.
He doesn't look like he's trying hard.
He's
like almost like Kamara.
He's the Waddle, the Ruggs, those guys that LSU has had all the wide. It feels like they've had. I mean, right now it feels like wide receiver university. When you look at the NFL, they just hadn't had that cat that it feels like you can just
touch
throw
it
him
and go
a-
90.
Yeah.
Just
Take
throw
the
him a
top
slot
off.
wide
Yeah.
receiver. I mean,
Oh.
a slot wide receiver screen
and just
and
take
just
off.
one move and he's gone. Skylar Green.
Yeah.
Skylar Green in his prime.
Haven't had that since Skylar.
I don't think
Green,
that you've had that player since Skylar, have you?
No.
I mean, I'm trying to rack my brain.
I
on
mean, maybe
Trendon Holiday.
Trendon Holiday and Russell Shepard was kind of that guy, but they didn't give him enough touches.
No, and it wasn't the same. Like
Yeah.
LSU's had like the big physically like specimen dominant wide receiver, not the guy that you're like, don't let him get it. Like that's why I thought they're gonna play. Like if you go back like Dante Jackson, I thought he was gonna kind of get some touches. And Les gave him the ball against McNeese and it got rained out.
Yeah.
But like they haven't had that electric game breaker. And wasn't Aaron Anderson committed to LSU?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
He committed after the coach.
Yeah, he used the Ogeron
Because-
news as kind of his bailout. I think that Saban was kind of trending on him either way.
But I thought that, and isn't this the case where, like, Ed Nakar, if you commit, they kind of don't let you decommit? Isn't that kind of their rule of thumb over there? That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or
I don't
not.
know. He broke the code.
Yeah, but I think it's because of the Coach O thing is why
Yeah.
he was able to get out of his commitment. But that guy is, like I said, you'll see him Saturday. You'll see him. You'll line up and go, "Where's he from?" Ed Nakar.
Oh, you'll see him for 3 years.
Yeah,
on
and
Saturday.
it
His
kicks
land,
you right
he's
in the-
Landon Collins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he'll haunt you. I mean,
He looks like one of those players that's like he has that little vengeance against LSU because of
Absolutely.
the stuff that happened. And he's
Absolutely.
like, all right, every time I go against LSU, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for 100, 2 tutters, just like Devontae Smith. Every time he played LSU, he went off.
yeah. Landon Collins.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember Landon Collins coming to the sideline in Leonard Fournette's freshman year. So what is that, 2014?
Yeah. 2015. It would have been fall of 2015, right?
His
No,
freshman
no,
season.
Yeah.
Leonard's freshman season.
Right.
That was the game on the first play of overtime where old boy took his head off.
Ruben
Oh,
Foster.
Reuben
Reuben Foster.
Foster
took his head off in the first play of overtime. But in that game, they had a short 3rd and 3, and they turned and handed to Leonard, and Landon ran downhill and just stopped him in his tracks. And he came to the sideline and was mother effing like the LSU, like the whole thing. And I was like, look at the hate this guy has for LSU, man.
You got hate in your heart, let it out.
Yeah, man. I mean, he was. You could see that. I mean, it went back. You know what I mean? It was deep rooted. And when you got that type, that's tough to see.
Yeah,
that's tough to see.
It's like MJ when you piss him off. It's just like, fuck. What am I gonna do?
I wonder.
Guy was in Gonzales.
Yeah.
I wonder how he knew what play was coming. When you think about it.
Toss dive left.
Yeah,
right.
you said he handed it to him. He tossed it to him, no doubt.
I remember we did an interview with Tim Williams. T-Bob and I did an interview with Tim Williams when Williams was going through his draft process, and it was a great interview. And Williams, he's got a great personality, and I knew him at U High when I was calling his games, and kind of followed his recruitment. In his senior season, he was, I saw him chase down like a running back from behind as the far side defensive end on a tall sweep that went away from him, and the guy kind of thought that he was about to break it. You know what I mean? And Tim Williams caught him he cowboy collared him. And they didn't have the rule in high school football.
If you get the jersey, it's not the pads.
Yeah, and he brought him straight down. But we had Williams on a radio interview, and like I said, it was fantastic. Just kind of talking about his process. And then on the way out, we asked him, what did y'all think about playing LSU where they just kept running the ball at you? And he was like, man, we kept running to the sidelines, and we were all talking they're going to keep running this thing all night. They're not going to change. They're just going to keep on doing it. And he said by our sophomore year, by the time we played him 3 times, Saban had told us, these are the keys. These are the tip-offs. These are the tip. It was so easy to, if they break the huddle and put their left hand in the dirt, they're running to this side. Yeah. You know what I mean? If they put their hand on their right knee, they're sweeping this side. I mean, it was almost like it was like a video game.
I mean, you could kind of just follow the tight end on that set and just whatever side the tight end's on, toss out that way.
He ran for Leonard against Alabama, ran for 31 yards his sophomore year and 35 yards his junior year.
He was the best player in the country when he got off the bus.
Got his Heisman taken
morning.
Away.
Yeah,
that Saturday morning in Tuscaloosa, he was the best player in the country, and it wasn't even close. To think that was the first Saturday in November, and Leonard Fournette was on the cover of ESPN, the magazine, on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and was the leader in the clubhouse by probably 100 votes to win the Heisman that year. When he left Tuscaloosa, he didn't even get an invite.
They were done with him.
He didn't even get an invite to New York that year.
Crumbled him for the next 2. Then there was wasn't it Arkansas and Ole Miss that he wasn't even the same then.
He went 91 and 108.
I think they gave him 5 carries against Arkansas the next week. I mean, it was.
No, he got 19 carries for 91 yards.
Oh, his freshman season, he got 5 carries against Arkansas.
Yeah. He went for 21 and 79 his freshman year. They didn't have it figured out quite yet. They're going to keep beating that man. Yeah. What a fun memory that is. That's a great,
all right, the Carpool Queen is here. We're going to reset the set, and we got Ross Jackson talking Saints coming up here at 8:15. We have Shea Dixon in studio talking recruiting at 8:30, so make sure you check that out. Remember, as always, we're brought to you by Relief Med, RELEAF med.com, Relief Med. Medical marijuana legalized here in the state of Louisiana. If you've got a qualifying condition, find out for yourself by logging online to reliefmed.com. Another promo code for you over there. Just use Jordy1, Jordy, and the number 1, and you'll save yourself 20% off your first visit over at Relief Med. Reliefmed.com. Find out if you have a qualifying condition for yourself by just logging online. RELEAF med.com, reliefmed.com to find out for yourself today. Promo code saves you 20%. Jordy1, Jordy1 for 20% off your first visit over at Relief Med. We'll be back. Carpool Queen is here. We're talking recruiting and New Orleans Saints in the second hour. Come back with us as every day we're driven by Go Chevrolet.
Help me go Chevrolet.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house. Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us. It's okay. Just get us out there. Share us out there. We're having fun. We want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southernyecenters.com. That is southernyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southernyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com. The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, the Carpool Queen, a.k.a. the past PTA president.
Thank God it's over.
Giving up her...
Best of luck to the next one.
Giving up her
Best of
seat
freaking
and
luck.
her crown.
Jeez, I'm happy to give it up.
Really?
Yes.
No fight?
No
Can you
problem.
go? Can you go 2 terms?
Strangest
Well,
request that you had to deal with?
It's 3. It's a 3-year commitment. It's vice
Eee.
president, president, and past
Oh,
president.
so you knew that you were
Wow.
getting. So are you past president now?
Yes.
This is a 3-year
Oh,
run?
you're
This
still
is a
on the
3-year
hook.
run. But not. It
Wow.
won't be nearly as bad because I'm not active president. So yeah, it's much better.
What was your question, Jordy?
So wait, you still have duties
Oh,
as
I
the
still
past
have
president?
to go to meetings. And I don't have to run the
Oh.
meetings
Are you
or keep up
kidding?
with anything, and I don't have to go to every one.
Did you bring snacks to the meetings?
No, I did not. I did
Wow.
for the very last.
Did you bring
meeting, but
wine?
No, I mean no. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, see, I wasn't coming if you weren't bringing
Jeez,
snacks. I'm not coming. No snacks.
I'm trying to make it go quicker. I don't want you to
Sorry.
linger there.
What was
and
the
eat
longest one
food.
you had? What was the
I
longest
mean,
meeting?
probably 3.5 hours.
Oh,
Unreal.
Yeah,
what do
see,
y'all have to do?
you-
we all have somewhere to
I
go.
know, they
Right.
don't.
You
Everybody's
have to bring
showing up
snacks
in a
for
tennis
that.
skirt.
No, I'm not. I refuse to feed
Katie,
people
I'm
for
not
that. I don't
sitting
want
in
it to
any room
last
for
that
3
long.
hours without
Good,
snacks.
then go.
Go
Then be
home.
like, hey, let's adjourn
Hey,
this meeting.
see y'all
That's
later.
the point.
Did COVID help y'all out?
Yes, because my vice
Sure.
president year, we did everything on Zoom.
Beautiful.
It was great.
Beautiful.
Knock
Sorry,
that
my
from me.
video's down.
Right.
While I'm swimming these laps.
My friend about everybody
Ladies.
else.
Can't do video today. Sorry.
make it.
At the pool.
Wait, what was your oddest request? That's a great question. Did you have
I don't
anything?
think I had really an odd request. I think the
Any-
dumbest thing I dealt with was I brought Red Stick Sports on to take over our gear for
Oh, no.
Episcopal.
God, you wrapped
And
them
they
up in this.
fought me on
in
it.
this
Like people
Bravo
fought me on
drama.
that. I mean, they were
Almost
like,
lost him as a sponsor.
I'm like, all you
God.
do is click a button and order it online, and it gets delivered to your house. And they're like, no, parents want to come up here and
Oh,
sit here overnight and
no.
sort gear and hand it out the next
Jesus.
day. And I'm like, who wants to do that?
Have you not learned from Blockbuster?
In the pedicure flip flops and the toe dividers at
Exactly.
1 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Exactly.
You're busy, huh, Karen?
Maybe,
Go hit a tennis ball for God's sakes.
maybe they were using that room to do a little something. That was like a great escape for them.
Maybe.
Like that's a great excuse. I'll have to go do.
Yeah, I gotta
gotta
go
go
to
sort
PTA.
gear.
Yeah, I gotta go sort gear.
I got a PTA
Yeah.
meeting.
Oh my gosh, I hope no one is watching from Episcopal right now.
I hope they're all watching.
Past president.
Right?
Ex-president.
You know what I'm out.
All right, coming up in the second hour, we're talking recruiting and we're talking New Orleans Saints. Ross Jackson's going to be here at 8:15 this morning, and he is going to be answering all of your New Orleans Saints questions. OTAs start today as the Saints are going to be on the field. Mike Thomas putting out thirst traps. Drew Brees biting the bait. Thomas putting a shot of him running out the tunnel, fully dressed up, got the headgear on, looks like a game day situation. Brees hits him in the comments. Miss you, Mikey T.
Mikey T.
Sheesh.
Don't miss you, Brees.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I think you left on red there, Drew. I think he's on to the next.
New girlfriend. Sorry, bro.
Drew can't help himself.
help himself.
Everything.
He
Did
can't
he
help
has he
himself.
talked about Tyrann yet? Like, do you think he slid in
No, he
those?
did. He did. That
He
was
did.
that's what started all this.
Oh, okay. He's interested.
The signing at Mathieu_era at Jarvis Land
At
makes-
walk-ons,
like,
at
hitting 'em.
Bally's Fitness.
Makes me want to come back. Like Drew.
Hey, Drew. Stay home.
Drew.
Take care of your
man.
kids.
Get on the
We need to put that
PTA.
Drew
Right.
cutout in here.
PTA president, new PTA president, Drew
Perfect job for
Brees.
him.
It would be.
That would be a perfect job.
It would
for
have to be
him,
an all
man.
boys school though.
How
He hates his
organized?
daughter.
How organized would that PTA meeting be?
God.
All right, we're gonna watch film here today. Lucky.
Time out.
Yeah, right. God damn it, Karen.
Karen's
How
the
many
mic.
times
Karen's
I
the
have to
mic.
tell you? Becky made the chocolate chips. You had the oatmeal cookies.
Who put weed in these cookies?
Yeah.
You're coming back next
It
week.
wasn't
Yeah,
Drew.
that's right, that's
Wasn't
right.
Drew.
You stay with me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to meet with you afterwards.
He's got it sponsored
Some
by.
extra film duty for you.
He's got small
Yeah.
sliders at every meeting, walk-ons at every meeting.
doubt about it.
What else is he sponsored by? Everything.
Everything.
He's a part of the new
Yeah,
stretching
I saw
place.
He was stretching
Oh,
people
he
out on
is?
Jefferson Highway the other
Yes.
day.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the new stretch place
Stretch
on
I want
Jefferson.
to try that place. I've been wanting to try
Call
it.
Brees.
Drew.
Was he really here? He
Yeah,
was,
it's
like,
his deal.
opening it?
Yeah, he's got, you know what I mean?
So
Like
it's a franchise, right?
I guess
Oh,
so.
he doesn't get involved unless it's a franchise.
Right.
Drew doesn't go out on his own.
Right.
No entrepreneur.
Oh,
No.
I want to check it out. Have y'all checked it out?
You misspelled his name, Stewie.
Drew?
DRW.
I'd say no. Drew.
Dr. W, he was not in the Super Bowls.
It's actually spelled R.I.P. He misspelled his Dr. W. Brees.
Dr. W. Brees.
He's got time.
Yeah.
He does.
Oh, my God.
He'll let you know about it. You think he'd document every class he went into?
No,
on his getting his doctorate.
Oh my God! All along the way.
Yes.
He needs to like
Business 4000. Oh God.
Breeze Drew.
Business 4000.
I passed.
I have a friend who writes down every outfit that she wears every day
Jesus, that's
In
too
a
much
planner.
time.
That's some sort of complex.
Why don't you just take a selfie?
so that she
Yeah.
does. I don't know.
So she doesn't wear the same
I don't know.
outfit
I
twice?
didn't get that deep into it. So she doesn't wear the same thing twice, and she can look back and know what she wore.
That's too much.
Don't you feel like though Drew Brees would do that?
I don't see him as
What?
as vain like in his
No, but
dress.
organized. I could see the
Super
organized.
crazy
I don't see him
like
picking
that.
out any of his clothes.
Really?
No, that's a
No.
Britney job.
No, I think
Yeah.
that he or he probably
Britney.
hires somebody.
Yeah, he probably
Yeah.
has a stylist.
Yeah, I think
I would
he
say he
hires
has a
somebody.
stylist.
In his closet every morning?
He'd be the easiest person to
No,
dress
I think it's
of
like
all time.
I think it's like meal prepping. I think that's, they
yeah.
probably
just lay
send
him
him
out?
like kind of a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Maybe so.
all laid out in the closet.
I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't deny if I had money like that, I would do that.
You would what?
you have like
Clothes
3
prep?
pairs of clothes.
I mean, I wear the same thing every day.
Me too. Yeah.
So if I had like real, I mean, as soon as I get my money right, I'll hire a stylist.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's
Like,
easy.
Yeah.
For y'all,
I mean, just,
for a man.
Uh,
Y'all don't want to have to think about that.
But I mean, if I had it my way, I
mean-
would wear this every day.
Well,
You
do.
do.
These
You do have it your way.
But actually, I mean, I dress down.
No
these
amount of
pants.
money
I
needs to
dress down
change for
these
that.
pants,
Yeah.
like even like to a more relaxed fit. I mean, like I could get away in a business setting with these.
Absolutely,
You've
because
worn them in a business setting.
I
I've been
have.
with you.
it's a good chino. Because you've worn
Yeah.
them so many times, they're comfortable now. That's the
Absolutely.
move.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I have a pair of pants just like that, and I look at them like I used to hate these.
Yes.
Now I slide them on all the time.
I
What
mean, I
kind
look
of
at
socks
some
you got
people
on
in
with those?
business meetings, and I'm like, you have to be
super uncomfortable.
so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So just, I mean, it's 1 o'clock, and you've been wearing this
But
since
you're used
7.
to it. You're used to it. I mean, I used to wear heels every day to an
Oh,
office.
yeah, tell your
and
boss
I got
about it.
used to it. Ugh. I mean, I wouldn't take them off when I got home.
I just
I
couldn't
mean,
imagine
it was just
wearing
like a normal
suit
part of
in
me.
South Louisiana every single day, like
No chance.
Stefanski and his crew.
Withering away.
I mean, like
He's
they
sweating
Are, they are
away.
suited up today, walking from like the Capitol Annex building to the Capitol, like in the heat. I mean, when I hit the meeting, I would look like I just played Game 7.
God. Would you not wear deodorant on purpose? Like everybody form a coup and be like, look at what you're doing to us. You did this.
That's awful.
If you let us wear a little leisure fit. But now it's
did
like
that.
the
Who? Who are
whoever-
you blaming?
I don't know.
The government. Big
Yeah.
deodorant did
What if they
this.
just stopped like wearing suits, like the like college coaches?
I
can't.
would think that like the college coaches would be the model. You know
Yeah,
what I
there
mean?
are
Like they
rules.
always felt like they had to wear suits. They stopped wearing suits and they still played basketball games. If we stopped wearing suits, we
paid
can
the
still
kids.
do politics. You know what I mean? Like
We can still
it
talk
does
about the
not
same thing.
hinge on this Windsor knot, for God's sakes.
Look at
That
him.
you got me gagging on all day. I mean, like,
This guy's wearing jeans. We can't even talk
Jesus.
about the Bills.
I mean, by 9 a.m., I'd have the tie down, bro, the unbutton. I'd have no
But
jacket,
not if it was a
sleeves
rule.
rolled up.
It's like
I mean,
Catholic
I
school
guess.
rules. What are you
man.
gonna do about it?
Jesus, write me up every day.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't
prove
think
it.
they
Do
do
it.
that in
I'll take the
government.
penalty, Camara. I'll pay the fine.
Right?
I'm wearing the cleats.
Were you a hot like? Did you have to wear a uniform at school? I'd imagine.
Yes.
Did you? Were you
Yes.
immediately as
We've
soon as
had
you
these
got home?
conversations
Yeah.
with him.
No, I was saying like immediately as soon as you got home, take your
Oh.
uniform off. Like there's some kids that saying it all day.
Yeah.
No, my kids.
So were
change
you like
clothes
as
3
soon as
times
I
a
got
day.
home, done, out of it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, in fact, we
Makes
had
my skin
7.
crawl.
We had like 7th hour
PE,
Yeah.
and
I'd be out.
I'd never go back to the unit.
I'm out. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I'm walking around the school in the PE uniform.
100%.
Like, what's up?
Yeah, but
100%.
did they let you do that?
Yeah.
Come and get me.
Not let
Right.
you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like, let's pick our battles with this kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We don't want
He's
this.
on his way
Yeah,
out. we
right.
might
Let
as
him
well.
wear the fucking
He's-
uniform, for God's sakes.
Let him
man.
hit the
Forget
portal.
It.
Right.
I had this conversation with Cooper last night about going to Catholic and having
Ugh.
to shave, and I was like, Jordy couldn't stay Catholic because his beard grew out all day long.
Joe LeBlanc.
remember.
I still see Joe LeBlanc. He was waiting at the edge of the parking lot. And he used to stop you on the way in. He would get you as you were like shuffling in, and you would like not ready to play defense against the administrators yet. You know what I mean? Like, where can I hide out so I don't see Coach LeBlanc? I'm still like trying to I'm flying in the parking lot late, and he, Culotta, good to see you, buddy. Go ahead and shave that face for me.
Right to the bathroom.
Yeah,
sir.
right.
Was
Hand
it
you
a-
a dry razor.
Was it
just
a one?
Yeah, it was a bic.
One blade
It was
razor?
just a straight bic
Yeah,
from
they did
the
same
dollar
thing.
store, bro.
Same thing at my school. I just go home.
You just have toilet
Check
paper
myself
pieces
out.
stuck
I
on
mean,
you. Yeah. Yeah.
You had to shave your face.
Well, and your
Oh,
hair
man.
can't go below
I
your
knew
eyebrows.
that one. I've
Yeah.
seen that one before, but I didn't.
Shirt
know
had
that-
to be tucked in, had to have the belt on
We
every
had that
day.
too.
Shoes had to be tied.
Did
I
y'all
mean, it
have
was
sock
just-
regulations?
Socks had to be higher than the shoes.
Anna Kate said
constantly
they have to
wearing
get
the
on their
ankle sights.
knees in the hallway
Oh,
when like
jeez.
the
Oh.
nun person comes up to check the length of their skirt. They have to get on their knees
That's
and
a
kneel in the hallway.
A little disrespectful. If you think
I'm
about
like,
it.
I told- I
14 and
was like-
15-year-old
Notify
girls.
St. Joseph Academy. It's not 1950
I mean,
anymore.
right? I was like, I'd say no.
What do they have,
He was
poodle
"You would?"
skirts?
I know, right? Get on your knees,
is
and they measure you
ridiculous.
And
from
you
the
got
floor
15-year-old
up.
boys running around in there too.
Well,
They're
no,
just-
no, there's
No.
only girls.
It's
Only
all
girls.
girls' school.
Only
All
girls.
girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
On your
Snapchat.
knees, ladies.
Is that the most ridiculous rule ever?
That is.
Like, if somebody were like, get on your knees, I'll be like, no.
No, you get
I'm
on yours.
not. Exactly.
You've been praying all day. It's the easy jaunt for you. Yeah, your knees are all calloused over. Love it down there.
Remember, we are brought to you daily here by our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Get in touch with Jude Barker and his friend and his crew over there at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. No social media. You got to dial the number 225-776-2431. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and save 15%. On the bottom line, it doesn't matter what the service is, what you're looking for. You'll save 15% if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show. They got 2 trucks per day working this side of the river. They're located and originate out of Plaquemine in West Baton Rouge Parish, but Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works has 2 trucks every day working East Baton Rouge Parish. So if you need help and you need service today, get in touch with them. Call Jude this morning, 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431. Remember, over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, they are number 1 and a number 2 business. They specialize in industrial, commercial, residential plumbing. They've got experienced carpenters and plumbers on staff, which means if you're looking for a residential or an industrial remodel, they can help you out with all of that. Get in touch with them today, 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431 to get in touch with our friend Jude Barker of Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. We talk New Orleans Saints next with our friend Ross Jackson.
Got him up there.
We will check and be in with Jackson next year. A lot going on with the New Orleans Saints. They're on the field today. New draft picks in. They've got free agent signings that'll be there, including Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu. Saints aren't done signing just yet. Are there more LSU players that could come in the boat? Guys like Darrell Williams, Quan Alexander, maybe even Odell Beckham has been talked about
please.
a little bit. We'll ask it all to Ross Jackson. If you have a New Orleans Saints question for Ross, get inside of our chat app, hashtag Ask Ross, and we will talk to Locked On Saints podcast own Ross Jackson next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Ross, you got me?
Yeah, I got you. I'm just trying to figure out where I can adjust my inputs
Oh, all right, perfect.
real quick because it's picking up on the wrong camera at the moment.
Perfect.
There we go. How are you?
Good. All good on this end. All good.
Dope. All right, I'm gonna. There we go.
Yes, I believe Ross Jackson heard that entire conversation. Welcome to the show, Rossi. You're going to fit in well here. Calvin Dudley, $20 super chat. We appreciate that, Calvin, as always, for watching the show with us every day. And everybody out there who is interacting with us, make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you being out there. Ross Jackson is the host of Locked On Pels podcast. And as we said over the last couple of months, listening to the Locked On Pels podcast with Jake Madison, this is a lot of the same, man. They go into a lot of technical stuff over there. You've heard me really kind of reference their podcast over the last couple of weeks with Ross and what he's doing, all the build up to the draft, after the draft picks, and then, of course, the Tyrann Mathieu and the Jarvis Landry signings. There's been a lot of Saints news out there, and if you are looking for daily Saints content, and as I said to Jake, the thing that I respect about what they got going on Locked On Pels and Locked On Saints is that the content is there every day. If you are needing consistent Saints content, I listen to them every morning, 5 a.m. on my bike ride. I was listening to Ross this morning talk about play calling duties and some of the off-season signings. And the reason why I love it is because it's there every day. You can count on it, man. And they're putting out great content, and they're breaking it down where we don't talk the numbers and stuff like they do, but we have an understanding of it now because of the work that they're doing over at Locked On Saints podcast. I definitely recommend that you check out and listen, follow, subscribe, everything they got going on. And we bring in Ross Jackson into the conversation here on this Tuesday morning to talk a little New Orleans Saints as they get out on the practice field today, OTAs. Ross, good to see you, bro. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good to see you. Appreciate you having me on, man. Glad to be here with you and appreciate all the kind words. Obviously, it means a lot for me to be here and be able to chop it up with you, man. So I appreciate you having me on. And to the whole team, Katie, Ron, everybody, I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Ronnie with the shout outs.
Yeah.
Ronnie. I love it. And Ross was privy to some off-camera conversation. So he's already on the inner circle.
Sorry about that.
He's already in. Don't apologize to him.
It's all good.
You really know us.
Consider it an initiation. I'm glad to be here.
Exactly.
You made it through.
Just closes his laptop after that.
Right.
Mike Thomas is putting out thirst traps on Instagram. It looks like Drew Brees is falling for it. But Mike Thomas's situation, Ross, let's start there. It seems like the superstar is bought in right now going into OTAs that begin today. Where is he mentally?
Yeah, this is exactly what the New Orleans Saints needed coming into 2022 after being the last ranked passing offense in terms of passing yardage in 2021, not being able to get him out onto the field. And as of right now, the way that it looks, according to Nick Underhill, who has also, of course, been on the show and everything, like he talked about how not sure we're going to see him do anything at OTAs, but he's in the building. And that's a huge step forward because we haven't seen that recently, right? He's been in Baltimore, he's been in, which is what kind of led to him visiting that preseason game last year when the Saints were playing in Baltimore, but then he's been in California. He had Chris Olave come out. He was one of Chris Olave's draft day calls, inviting him out to come and work out in California. So you're seeing all of the buy-in there immediately in terms of where it is that Michael Thomas is mentally with this team, what the relationship is between the team. Dennis Allen talking about meeting with him and chopping it up with him as well. So it looks like all the things are moving forward. They're in a good place, and that's exactly what the New Orleans Saints need as they effectively completely revitalize that wide receiver room going into 2022.
Yeah, Ross, that's where I wanted to go. If you can remember back to when Thomas set the NFL record for catches in a season, I mean, the drop-off from his production to the second guy on that list, it was tremendous. And to be able to get to the NFC Championship game, I thought really showed his talent. Now, as you kind of detailed on Locked On Saints, they've got playmakers on that offense. Now, what is his role now that you see that he's got Jarvis and Olave and Alvin Kamara around him?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that 2019 season, he had something like 1,400 yards, and then it was Ted Ginn Jr., I think it was second with him after that. That was like 720-something, 719, something like that. So he nearly doubled the guy that was right behind him. So I think now you don't have to worry about that type of disparity when it comes to the New Orleans Saints offense, particularly passing offense, any longer. I think his role remains the same, right? He continues to be the go-to receiver. He's the X receiver, the split end, as they call it. He'll continue to line up on the outside. But you'll see him and Jarvis Landry and their ability to be able to both line up inside and out, be versatile, right? This is Dennis Allen that we're talking about, who's the head coach of this team now. And the one thing I think of anytime that I think about Dennis Allen, particularly over on the defensive side, is versatility and multiplicity. Those are the things that he absolutely loves. I think you'll see that same type of treatment come to the offensive side as well with Chris Olave, who can run from the slot. Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas can both run from the slot. These guys can all play on the outside as well. And then you have the specified roles that'll be developed for the remaining wide receivers that make that depth chart, which will include names like Deontay Hardy, Marquez Callaway, and Traquan Smith, who were last year's starters. So when you look at Michael Thomas's role, I think that it's not really something that shifts, right? I think that he's still a focus in terms of this offense. He's still going to be the first read on one read situations. He's going to be the quick read on those quick passing in that quick passing offense, all of that. But now he just has the complements next to him that allow him to move around a little bit, kind of get matched up and take advantage of some matchups over on the defensive side, and then not be in a situation where he's carrying the entire offense and doubling the next receiver in terms of production.
What is fair expectation for Jameis this season going into it?
Yeah, I think if you get all 17 games from him, right?
Yep.
Even if you get 16 of the 17 games, right? But if you get all a full season of him, I think a fair expectation is probably clocking him over 4,000 yards and then somewhere in that, let's say 30 touchdown area, even if it's in the low 30s. I think this is still very much going to be a team that's defined by its defense and that wants to be able to run the ball effectively, right? That's why they've spent so much time continuing to invest in the offensive line, spending that second first round draft pick on Trevor Penning, who they're hoping is going to be able to turn into that starter at left tackle. You're getting Ryan Ramczyk, Cesar Ruiz, Andrews Pete all back healthy. Eric McCoy continues to be stellar, but he led the team in penalties last year from an individual basis. So you look for him maybe to rein that in, and then you have guys like James Hurst and Calvin Throckmorton that can plug in just about anywhere. So they've spent a lot of time continuing to focus, develop, and maintain the relationships that they've already developed over on the offensive line. This is going to be a team that's going to want to run the ball and set up by running the ball. That will in turn impact the offense, but it might not lead, the passing offense, but it might not lead to a situation to where all of a sudden you're seeing a 5,000-yard passing season or anything like that. So I think quelling that sort of expectation and pulling back to the 4,000-yard range, the 30 touchdown range, if you get a full season of Jameis Winston, then you're happy there. And if you get somewhere under 20 interceptions, not as to be a commentary on Jameis Winston, but remember in 2011 when the Saints set the record for highest most total yards by a single offense in a single season, they threw 19 interceptions that season, fourth most in the NFL. So if you end up kind of coming under that 20 interception range with a 17-game season, you're in a really good place to continue that production over on the other side and continue to actually be a team that's not just winning with defense, but actually setting the mark with its offense.
To piggyback over something that you brought up this morning on the podcast and listening to it about that 2011 team was that Pete Carmichael called the majority of the plays that season because Sean Payton was dealing with an ACL injury that he sustained during a sideline Jimmy Graham out route that he tore his ACL. What's your expectation around Carmichael now becoming the primary play caller and really kind of the visionary on this offense now?
Yeah, I expect that you'll see some growing pains. One of the other things I talked about was the lack of practice as compared to 2011, the lack of preseason games now as compared to 2011. So early on in the season, you might see some bumps in the road while the rhythm gets to being developed. But when you look at all of the folks that were there to help sort of be the architects of that New Orleans Saints offense that has been so highly touted for so long, and rightfully so, Sean Payton, Joe Lombardi, Drew Brees, and then Pete Carmichael was a part of that. And Pete's now the last remaining part of that offense in terms of the architects that put it all together. So I expect to still see an offense that has the ability to be aggressive. Dennis Allen has an aggression, of course, that we see on the defensive side all the time. I think that will shine in situational play calling over on the offensive side. I think he'll have some influence there. But Pete Carmichael's ability to be able to control game flow, to call plays at the right time, to understand how to take advantage of an aggressive defense or a conservative defense, none of that is understated or should be understated when it comes to Pete Carmichael. Because not only did he call the rest of that, the majority of the 2011 season, he called that entire 2012 season where the Saints were still at the top of the league or in the top three when it came to passing and total yardage. So I think all of that speaks well of Pete Carmichael. I know we don't usually consider him a play caller because he hasn't had to have that role full time, but he's somebody that absolutely has the ability to do it. And he's proven it before, and he's proven it with talent, right? He had Jimmy Graham, he had Marcus Colson, he had, Pierre Thomas and Darren Sproles. Like, he had all those guys back then. Now this year, you've got Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, and then, Taysom Hill becomes a playmaker for you in the passing game now as he turns his focus to tight end. So I think that all of that speaks to Pete Carmichael's ability to be able to, or sets up well for Pete Carmichael's ability to be able to call plays to maximize talent on the field.
Rich Eisen had a great sit-down with Dennis Allen, a great interview a couple of weeks back where they really kind of went into his evolution as a coach, everything that he's learned up to this point, and the defense that he's calling and has been calling plays for the last couple of years. Top 5 scoring defense last year, and really kind of the identity of the franchise right now. How do you see his role shifting now that he has to deal with the responsibility of the head coach? I know that he's got a couple of defensive coordinators that he counts on, but how do you see him handling this position as a head coach the second time around after his run in Oakland?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see, especially if he is going to continue to maintain play calling responsibilities, which he voiced a desire to do so, and we believe that he will be doing that. And so that's going to be really interesting to see is how he continues to game plan and call plays, right, leading up to the game and then also executing during the game, while also sort of having this wider scope of responsibility and focus when it comes to being a head coach. So that's going to be a little bit of an adjustment for him. But, you mentioned a couple of defensive coordinators there, Chris Richard as well as Ryan Nielsen. These are all guys that they have a ton of cohesion together. They know how to communicate with one another. Chris Richard's already been in conversation as being one of those guys that has had some input in situational play calls last year. I wouldn't be surprised to see that come into fruition or maintain going into 2022 as well, particularly in red zone defense, for instance. So I think that those situations are ones, which, by the way, the Saints were stellar in red zone defense last year. And so I think that those situations are ones to where Dennis Allen, if he is having a wider focus or anything like that, that is taking him away from the game planning part, he has these 2 defensive coordinators that are going to make sure that everyone is up to speed with what needs to be installed, what needs to be taught, and what needs to be planned for moving into when Dennis Allen calls the plays on game day. Yeah. So I think that will be a big part of it. I also think that his evolution from what we saw during his, at the time, Oakland Raiders days, is that he's with an organization that, first of all, was willing to build a team, sure, right, that had the capital to build a team, and that put him in a situation to where he was able to help build his team. He helped orchestrate what it is that this team going into 2022 looks like, unlike the situation in Oakland. So I think that will work massively to his benefit as well.
Incredible that they have signed Tyrann Mathieu. Even the crew and I talk sometimes. It's like you got to pinch us to think that you're going to see Mathieu in the black and gold, like running out there, calling defense for the New Orleans Saints, still with football left in the tank. Like, he's still got good days of football ahead of him. Ross, what does his presence, what does his just being a member of the team now allow Allen to do defensively, but what does it mean for the overall franchise in the city?
Yeah, so defensively, what it does is we talked about sort of that versatility and multiplicity, right? The desire to be multiple on defense for Dennis Allen and the way that he orchestrates his defense. And Tyrann Mathieu fits that to a T. And both he and Marcus May, the safety that they signed earlier on, who kind of immediately replaces Marcus Williams, both of those guys have that versatility. They can play in the box. They can play up against the line of scrimmage. They can play deep safety. Tyrann Mathieu can play in the slot. He can play outside if you need him to. I mean, this guy is able to do everything. So I think that what it allows Dennis Allen to do is hold his disguises a little bit longer. So all that stuff that has worked against Tom Brady over the course of the last 2 years, he gets to do more of that, right? Wow. To put it in like layman's terms. And so I think that becomes a huge part of the game planning side and what he does for you in terms of what he brings on the field for Dennis Allen and the defense. For the organization and the community, there's a new leader in town. That's the best way that I could say it. Tyrann Mathieu is an absolute leader within this community, and he's from this community, which I think is so incredibly important and such a difference in terms of what we've seen before. Culture has always been really, really important to the New Orleans Saints. The connection between the organization and the community is unlike any other franchise across the NFL. However, when you have guys like Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry that are also from the community, it just takes you to another step. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyrann Mathieu has a captain's badge this season immediately as he joins the team.
I'm with you. It's going to be incredible to see the impact that he has. You did another fantastic job of breaking down the executive team of the New Orleans Saints and their ability year in, year out to manipulate the cap. I mean, when you looked at it last year, the Saints were 32nd in the league against the cap and looked like they were in the graveyard. But here again, Kai Hartley and Mickey Loomis just do what they do. I don't mean to sound surprised by it because we've seen it so many times now. But Ross, how do they do this? I mean, like I got to imagine that teams around the league have to use New Orleans as a model of how to stay competitive year in, year out.
Yeah, we're certainly seeing more void years added to contracts. We're seeing teams restructure a little bit more. But the thing that I've always loved about the sort of the commentary around the New Orleans Saints salary cap situation is that there's sort of this expectation, this very unrealized and unwarranted expectation that somehow or another the New Orleans Saints are going to wake up in March as the new year begins and go, wait, we're how far over the salary cap?
Right.
And then have to try to fix it that morning. Right. The New Orleans Saints are 3-4 years ahead of this, right? They're building contracts that are built specifically to be restructured. Look at last year when they got the extensions done with, or over the course of the past couple of years where they got the extensions done with Ryan Ramczyk, and week 1 last year, they got the extension done with Marshawn Lattimore. They built in these massive roster bonuses going into the second year that will effectively turn into guaranteed money anyway. So when they restructured contracts, they restructured the roster bonus in addition to the base salary to drop all of that cap hit, but still give the same or similar amount of guaranteed money that they were already planning to give to both of those players. You look at the restructures to guys like Taysom Hill, there was a similar mechanism built into his contract, and you see it all the time. So there are these easy situations when you look at what the New Orleans Saints have done, or these, let's say, knowledgeable situations, when you look at what the New Orleans Saints have done, being prepared to get under the salary cap, right? They're not just making the decision to do it or realizing that they have to do it the season that it happens, the day before the new league year begins. They're planning for this 2-3 years ahead of time, and they'll continue to do so. And I think we'll continue to see that. The New Orleans Saints were, $100 million over the salary cap last year, $70 million over the salary cap this year, and they walked away signing Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry in May after the NFL draft, who could have been week 2 of free agency signings and been a home run at that point. They get those guys in May, and they still have money to spend. And like you mentioned, the signings probably aren't done yet.
It's crazy. That's my last one for you on the way out. Incredible work. Thank you for your time this morning. Make sure you're following Ross at Ross Jackson Nola, keeping up with Locked On Saints podcast to keep up with the latest every single day from the black and gold. Last one on the way out. You mentioned they could not be done. They might not be done, and it feels like there's former LSU players that are in that mix, whether it's Darrell Williams, whether it's Quan Alexander, or maybe even Odell Beckham Jr. Where do you see them finishing up the summer and putting this roster, the last couple of touches on this roster?
Yeah, look, Quan makes a ton of sense for them. They have their guy in Demario Davis when it comes to linebacker. They love Pete Werner. But then after that, you have a lot of potential, right? You've got guys like Zach Bond and Caden Ellis, Zach Bond still kind of feels like that role is being figured out. Caden Ellis is a core special teamer. He's got his role. DeMarco Jackson, who they drafted in the 5th round, they'll figure out his role. But adding Quan Alexander gives you another bona fide linebacker that you can put out downs 1, 2, or 3, and even 4 in some cases out on the field, and feel really good about what he brings you in terms of sideline to sideline speed, ability to cover, even his ability to blitz. So I think Quan Alexander would make a lot of sense to have another reunion with the Saints. Maybe he kind of continues that trajectory of PJ Williams, who's on his 4th straight 1-year deal with the team. This could be Quan's effectively 3rd straight 1-year deal, 2nd that he signed after the trade. The other name that really stands out to me, of course, is Darrell Williams. I think that the New Orleans Saints looking at veteran running back still makes a lot of sense for them. I know they brought back Devon Ezigbo, who they're really, really familiar with, caught a pass for them in the Seattle game last year. And there's some, concern or questions, I guess, around what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara's legal situation, which we really don't even get the next step of until August 1st. And that's a hearing. So we're not really progressing very quickly in that situation. So he may end up with a suspension at some point. He may not. We'll see. But either way, going for another veteran running back makes a lot of sense. The Saints tend to do this a ton during training camp anyway, bringing in guys like Mike Gillislee and Devontae Freeman and all the veteran running backs that they've looked at over the course of the past few years. OBJ is absolute overkill, and I wish the New Orleans Saints would do it.
Right.
I love overkill. I love overkill, right? You're already marching out a 3 wide receiver set that's going to be tough for a lot of defenses to contend with. make it 4, make it 5 if you want to lop in, Deontay Hardy with that as well. And the thing about like Odell is that he's probably not going to be healthy until midseason, right? He had that really unfortunately timed ACL injury. All ACL injuries are unfortunately timed, but to have one during the Super Bowl is just a whole other level.
Especially in the game he was having.
Right, exactly. Like he was like it's kind of it's similar to the Jamison Williams situation with the ACL tear during the national championship game when he was going off. And so, he's probably not going to be ready until the middle of the season. You never know what's going to happen. The biggest X factor in the NFL, as we saw in that Super Bowl game, are injuries. And so if you have any type of injury concern or anything like that early on in the season or before the season begins, and you are in a situation to where Odell Beckham Jr. is still available, that would be a signing that would make a lot of sense. And I don't think would be a top dollar situation, right? He's coming off of an ACL injury. He's signing late in free agency, and he would have the opportunity to hit the market again at the beginning of next year, as long as he could stay healthy. So it'd be a little bit of a prove it situation. Not that you need to prove his talent, but certainly prove that he can stay healthy.
Love your work, bro. We're going to do this again soon.
Right back at you, man.
Keep it up, man. Thank you for being there every day. At Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter. Ross Jackson, the host of Locked On Saints podcast. That you can catch every day. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Be safe.
All right, man. There he is, Ross Jackson, checking in from down in New Orleans on the latest on the Saints. As I said, catch up with his podcast every single day. Locked On Saints.
That very informative interview was brought to you by Dead Soxy. Did y'all know they make custom socks? You just go to deadsoxy.com/custom. You don't have to do any of the work. You send them your logo. They do all the work for you. You can get a minimum order of 120 pair. The lead time is 6 to 8 weeks. And if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, you get $100 off all custom orders now. I'll put the link in the chat, but it's deadsoxy.com/custom. And if you still use the code Jordy, you get 35% off of everything else on the site.
Great interview with Ross Jackson. Very good information on that interview with Ross Jackson. Appreciate him for stopping by. More information coming up. We will talk recruiting with the best in the business. Shea Dixon is going to stop by. He's got a updated piece on Tackett Curtis, who is a top 5 recruit in the state of Louisiana during this cycle. Where did the Tigers sit with him after a weekend of hanging out with the Curtis clan and Curtis crew down in Baton Rouge? Shea Dixon next year on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. My dog. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Great work by Ross Jackson. Go check that out. Remember, Locked On Saints podcast. Ross Jackson is the host over there. He's great. Go 247 is where we get all our recruiting news. We follow Shea Dixon.
He's great, too.
Wherever Shea is, we're getting the recruiting information from him.
He's great.
Tackett Curtis is great.
He's off and running.
Speaking of Tackett Curtis, there is the latest write-up by Shea is detailing the weekend that Tackett and his crew spent down here in Baton Rouge. It was the first time that they'd been to LSU in a while, and really had a chance to meet a lot of the coaches and spend a lot of time around Coach Matt House, who's the defensive coordinator. Shea details that over at Go247. A lot of recruiting information over there. It's worth the subscription. Get over there and follow Shea on Twitter at Shea Dixon. It's good to see you, buddy. Good morning.
Morning. How are y'all?
Doing good. You look different than when I saw you last. Did you have some shades on?
They all saw it in the chat.
Okay.
They asked when you were going to do your porn shoot. Was
Nah,
it directly
that's
after
coming
the
from
show?
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't realize I was still wearing that.
That's right. It's been a hell of a night.
Exactly.
Done.
Yeah.
Y'all are a porn waiting to happen.
Dylan Cruz's ass.
With our powers combined.
247 Sports.
All right.
I'm sure they appreciate
St. Joseph Academy skirt checks.
it. On your knees.
Shea, Tackett Curtis. LSU felt like they've been looking on the outside in here for a lot of his recruitment, but this weekend seems like they made up a lot of ground. Where do they stand?
Yeah, I mean, this is, one of the top players in Louisiana, but the country. I mean, I think he's number 6 or 5 linebacker, kind of consensus across the ranking services. So highly thought of. I mean, he's got 50-something college offers, but it became clear early on that LSU just wasn't a player. I mean, they offered him, I think, in the summer of 2021, so a year ago, but even then didn't make any headway. And out-of-state teams from the start, whether it was Ohio State or Wisconsin, Southern Cal, coast to coast, he was making visits to. He's now set to make official visits. He's got 3 of them in the books: Wisconsin, Ohio State, and USC. But LSU was just never a factor. And it became kind of public, and I don't think Jess Curtis or Manny would shy away from that. But it kind of was what it was, and everyone sort of wrote off publicly that Tackett was going to leave the state. And the new staff, when they got hired, I think noticed that Brian Kelly and Brian Polian had offered Tackett while they were at Notre Dame, so obviously they knew who he was. And I think they got down here and said, all right, here's the top players in the state. Let's reach out. And I think probably when they got to Tackett, someone was like, you ain't got a shot. Like, here's what's going on. And it was sort of, well, we need to get up there to Manny High and figure this out. And that's what Jess Curtis said, the head coach there, was kind of their MO, starting back in January. And then when coaches could go on the road for the spring evaluation period, they went up there and kind of, as Jess said, the walls come down and the dialogue between LSU and Manny's there. And look, beyond Tackett in this class, I mean, they've got D1 guys coming through there. Certainly a lot of kids that have played at different spots in college in the state. But next year, they've got, one of the top 50 prospects in the country. So it's one of those things where you don't want any school in Louisiana to be sort of LSU's persona non grata there. It almost doesn't make sense. So even beyond getting a great linebacker like Tackett to campus, I think the big win is that, Manny High is in good graces and vice versa with LSU again, which is a talented high school football program with, a lot of kids that come through there that end up playing college ball. So you don't want to sort of have any sort of divide between those two. And I think the new staff sort of put an end to that.
The coach is his uncle, right? Jess is his uncle?
Yes. So the people who came down this past weekend would have been Jess, Tackett's dad, who would be Jess's brother, their father, so Tackett's grandfather, and I think Tackett's brother.
Is this JT?
I don't know.
Is it John Curtis? I mean, is it?
I don't know. There's probably a lot of Curtis. I mean, it could be like John Curtis's brother who's in there. But no, I don't know if it was JT.
How many field passes are they going to want? Good. Nice.
Give him as many as
and
they
his
need.
brother. But I think Jess was saying, like, Jess's daughter went to LSU. One of Tackett's siblings is either at LSU right now or went to LSU. So, it's not like no LSU was allowed. It was just sort of like the coaching staff and our school kind of weren't on the same page, and now they are.
5-star Jaden Wayne has his official set to LSU. He's out of Tacoma, Washington, and we've seen LSU kind of spread their arms here and go national. Wayne is one of the top edge rushers in this cycle. Where do they stand with him?
Yeah, and in a good spot. I mean, they're in the top group. They'd already gotten him down for a visit in April, an unofficial visit, and now he's got them, June 10th. He'll be down here for an official visit. He's coming off of one to Georgia. Miami and Oregon are in the mix, and then Bama. So kind of LSU's put themselves in that final five, which for a kid, like you said, from Tacoma, Washington, who's a top, 3 edge rusher in the country, that's a big deal. And I think you'll see with this class how it plays out. They don't have any D linemen committed right now, but they're going to have some committed, and I think they'll have a few by the end of the cycle. But I think it'll be heavy on out-of-state guys. And Jamar Cain, Wayne would be one example, but there's a lot of guys. LSU's D-line coach came from OU, and when you're at OU, you recruited a high level, but you aren't banking on Oklahoma kids from Kansas to go there. You're having to go all over the country and recruit, and I think Cain's been able to kind of say, hey, look, I was at OU offering all these type of kids for 23 this cycle. When I get to LSU, we take the same dudes here that you would take if you're Oklahoma's D-line coach. So I think that helped them out in a way to where, I've said this before, Joe Sloan came from La Tech. He ain't recruiting the same quarterbacks now that he was recruiting at La Tech. Sure. Jamar Cain is recruiting the same D lineman that he was recruiting at Oklahoma. So a lot of these kids in this class that are being recruited by LSU on the D line have known Cain for a couple of years now, and now kind of are seeing him from the LSU side. And June is a big stretch, not just for Wayne, but I would bet there'll be 7, 8, that range number of D linemen from outside the state who take official visits and come in and spend time on campus. So in the next month, I bet we see a lot of, whether it's commitments or at least kids coming to campus and then you feeling good or hearing out there that, look, LSU's going to end up getting this kid.
Cordell Music asks inside of the chat, any word on Brad Davis making up ground on Zalance Hurd or looking into Zalance Hurd, the 4-star offensive tackle from Neville? They're high on the list.
Yeah, I think that I guess if they made up ground, sure, because they were kind of they offered recently, but it was one of those things that's been odd that every school in the country hasn't gone in there and offered, which I think was kind of anticipated early on. He played at Bastrop and he was a D lineman, but he moved over to Neville and they said, hey, look, you've got, as anybody knows, you want to make some money one day in the NFL, play some offensive tackle. And he made the move over to offensive tackle, and he started out on one side and Will Campbell started on the other, and they were pretty good. And A.J. Allen, their running back, ran for a lot of yards every game. And Texas, Ole Miss, LSU, a number of schools are involved there. I like where LSU stands. I know that being LSU, just getting Campbell, the new staff will, make those inroads at Neville and get to know Hurd more. But I think Davis being retained as a Baton Rouge guy, native, he was already on the staff. He knows who the kid is. I think that's big. I think they'll, look, you look at Zaylon's Hurd at Neville. You look at Tyree Adams at St. Aug, Caden Jones at De La Salle. There's a few kids in state that play offensive line that Brad Davis is on that they could wind up with. So I think this will be another one of those classes where you see, like last year, you had Campbell and Emory Jones and Bordelon and Fitzgerald West. I think you'll get three or four, maybe less, O-linemen from here in Louisiana, and then you add that one or two from outside the state of kind of these big names that you're going after and kind of battling other, Georgia, Bama, whoever it is for them.
North Louisiana has always been a topic of conversation around recruiting with LSU. Trey Holly committed last week, the state's top running back.
Is that where Farmville is?
I guess so.
Union?
Is that right?
I don't know. No, I'm for real. No, I don't know why I thought it was in like Central Louisiana.
No, it's above Alexandria, right?
Well, I mean, if you go
y'all are from here.
If
y'all
if you go above Alexandria, you're lost, brother.
No, he's from up in that area. He's from up in Monroe.
I'm just going to Google it while we talk about it.
I'm Googling it over
Union
here.
Parish.
Union Parish. The U.
Around Monroe. Tallulah.
The U.
Right next to Walmart, Stewie, in the Union Museum of History and Art.
You checking that?
Yeah.
I'm checking. I'm not trusting any of y'all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. North of Monroe, north of LSU. You know what? You learn things every day, and that's why I wake up, is just to get more educated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't do anything. I Googled it.
That's
Yep,
true.
Farmerville, North Louisiana.
Y'all
All
didn't do
right.
anything. I Googled it.
So, is that more on Holly, or are they putting? Are they? I hate to say repairing the relationships. They're not in a bad spot up there, but I mean,
I don't. Is there some big rhetoric that North Louisiana's like
loaded?
they got no, well, not that, but like who's gone? What big name from North, like Hootie Jones? Like I'm trying to think of.
I guess Cam Robinson would be.
Well, yeah, but I mean that was a while back. I mean we're talking a couple coaching staffs ago at this point.
I mean, wasn't Hootie in the
Terrace
same class as
Marshall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went to
Terrace
LSU.
Marshall.
I'm trying to think of the really
right, no
big
doubt.
names that have
I mean,
come.
Greedy Williams.
Greedy Williams.
Yeah.
Tre'Davious.
No doubt. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I guess it's been a
I just think I don't think
old narrative.
North Louisiana is probably not as heavy on talent as when New Orleans or Baton Rouge or Lafayette or Lake Charles was, are putting guys out. So I think we focus on probably over the past decade the guys that have been big up there. If they've missed on them, it's become a bigger deal than it might be, elsewhere. So I don't know. I think Holly attributed a lot to just wanting to stay in Louisiana, play for the home state, have his family come down and see him. Frank Wilson, made some good inroads there. And look, we know Frank's MO. He's going to, we've seen it over all the years, whether it was the Kenny Hilliard or Mike Ford, whoever it would have been, Jeremy Hills, Louisiana's got running back talent.
Yeah, for sure.
Frank Wilson, name me an out-of-state back that he went on that, he had Darrell Williams and Fournette and Geis and Clyde, there's guys to find here. So I think that when he got on board, he circled Holly and they went and got him.
In the chat, what QB will sign with LSU this cycle?
That's why they paid Joe Sloan the money. I don't know the answer to that one. I like how they're doing the quarterbacks. I wrote about that today because it would seem like you could get trapped if you're, a college and Arch Manning's in your state. And it's like, we're going to roll. We're all in. We're all in. And however the chips fall, so that, that's how it'll go. And you can come up snake eyes there pretty easily. I think it's become very clear that LSU, even with Orgeron to this staff, was like, we know we're probably not getting him, so let's recruit him, but let's recruit everybody else too. And The same Eli Holstein. Look, Louisiana has 3 kids, Arch, Eli Holstein at Zachary, and then Ricky Collins at Woodlawn, who are ranked as top 12 quarterbacks nationally. Wow. So you know that at some point all 3 of those guys have landed an LSU offer, during high school, and the current staff is recruiting all 3 of them. So you know that you're probably going to come away with one of them. And they've suddenly, almost like with Tackett, gotten themselves back into the Eli Holstein picture. And it seems like Bama, if it's not Bama, would it be LSU there? Arch is obviously Texas, Bama, Georgia, schools he's talked up and is going to go visit. And Ricky Collins is committed to Purdue, but I think that's one where Oregon just offered him. LSU's heavy on him, so he'll have, bigger options down the line. I'd look out. I think what everyone's waiting on is outside the state. They went, if you know that, if you feel like at some point you can recruit all these guys heavily enough, and if things not go wrong, or if you don't get Dante Moore in Michigan, the number 2 quarterback in the country, or Jaden Rashada in California, who's like the number 4 quarterback in the country. If you don't get those guys, it's fine, because you've been recruiting these 3 guys in state equally as hard. So we'll see. Rashada's visits coming June 2nd or 3rd, so he'll be that first week of June. Dante Moore already visited. Rashada announces in June, so we'll know those answers sooner than later. And then I think if it's if Dante Moore goes to Notre Dame and Rashada ends up going elsewhere, not LSU, I think that you circle back and think, okay, it's going to be Holstein or Ricky Collins. It's my guess.
Jay Chillin asks, how about 4-star DB Christian Gray from Texas? How does LSU stand with him?
Gray. Well, and I guess Gray is from Missouri, and why I would point that out or make a point to correct that is that he played at DeSmet, or I guess that's how you say it, but for Robert Steeples, their current cornerbacks coach. So Steeples, who spent a year with the Vikings last year, this past football season, prior to that, was the head coach at the high school where Christian Gray attends, where Mac Markway, LSU's tight end commitment, goes to high school. So where Mekhi Wingo, the Missouri D lineman that transferred in, where he went to high school. So, and they were a really good high school football team, and kind of Steeples was held in high regard as turning that program around. Point being, all these kids are close with him, and Gray is a cornerback, so he would be coached by Steeples. So I think that he would have gone to Notre Dame, and many people think Notre Dame has the lead, but I think it would have been a done deal Notre Dame no matter what, had all of a sudden his high school coach not been hired to be the cornerbacks coach at LSU. And now he's visited a couple times. He'll have another visit coming up over the summer. So they're squarely in that one. But I think Notre Dame's the big competition.
Blind Eye Sports also asks, what's the percentage Tackett Curtis signs with LSU?
Jordy?
It's better be 100, boy.
No, man. No. You're not in the fan club if it ain't 100. I don't know. It's so – look, he hadn't visited LSU in a football capacity, he said, since like a camp in middle school. So if he's been to Ohio, he's been exploring his recruiting process and talking to all these coaches for 2 years now. And even LSU, you're working with a whole new staff, and now they're trying to get in. So – I'd say it's better than 0, which is what it was about a month ago, or a couple months ago. So
you're saying there's a chance?
You didn't.
That's all the Jordy Culotta fan club needs to hear.
Right? You're telling me there's a chance.
Shea said so.
That's right.
You didn't mention Dante Moore and the quarterbacks. How do they stand with him?
I think more is Notre Dame or LSU, and then I think with Rashada in California, he's visited Ole Miss. LSU's about to get a visit, but A&M is lurking around for Dante Moore and Jaden Rashada, and both could get visits. I think a lot of people I talk to around the country, or even with kind of the current the fight going on or dialogue going on publicly with Jimbo and Saban and all that. I think Billy Lucci tweeted this recently. He's like, people are going to be mad when July rolls around and A&M's popping like 6 5-stars again.
I know.
And I agree with him. People
me
are going to
too.
be mad.
I said the same thing.
And I think one of them will probably be a quarterback. So I don't know if it'll be Dante Moore, Jaden Rashada, or maybe it'll be some other guy that LSU's not after. But those guys are looking at A&M, and they hadn't picked a quarterback yet. And I think they're telling those guys, hey, someone's going to get the quarterback deal in the class, right? So I think those guys are kind of checking out what's good. I think Dante Moore had a good quote. This is going to be paraphrased because I don't remember what exactly he said, but he's like, I'm looking forward to checking out A&M and seeing how they put together that number 1 class.
What'd you make of Saban and Fisher?
I thought that let's not clip all this right here, right? I'm not going viral on Texags today. I thought that Jimbo came out looking worse than Saban did.
Oh yeah.
I think
Too
that's
emotional?
Yeah, it was.
a
very
little too emotional. And Saban's was at least said behind, at a booster event where they're recording, and if O or Kelly's at a booster event and Jacques puts it out, and all of a sudden it's like, well, O's rounding up the crowd or Kelly's rounding up the crowd. But if it's like, hey man, get Michael Bonnet in here and set me up. I need an 8-minute press conference. I'll handle it. No talking points needed. I'll handle it. I was blown away. That was up there with like an Allen Iverson, Jim Mora.
It was amazing.
Like I was just like, wait, is this really
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was straight for the jugular.
It was
Like,
unreal.
It was.
It was unreal.
And
He
he's
doubled
still
down.
going.
He doubled down. Sunday night.
if I'm Jimbo, I would have just said, look, check with our NIL. We played everything by the rules. If you don't love it, that's fine, but it's the rules,
Little man
I
mad.
don't think that Jimbo did the whole, I don't know anything about all that. And then we did everything just right. And then today, we only have one kid on an NIL deal. I checked with compliance. It's like,
researched
bro,
it.
just leave it all.
Stop.
Just say from the
Stop.
start, we played within the rules.
Right.
These kids just wanted to be Ags. And at the end of the day, I saw a fan.
Yeah.
I know that I saw, I don't think any reasonable A&M fan would argue that they didn't take advantage of NIL, but I did see a number of A&M fans, which I love, are like, these people just don't understand. Some kids just want to be
Hey,
Ags.
Culotta, you got receipts on Jacoby Matthews and Denver Harris? I'm like, no, but do you need them? I mean, like,
I want to join your weird milk
what do
drinking
you
cult.
mean, man? Great to see you, bro.
Good say. That's it.
yeah.
That's it. Okay, bye.
No more questions.
That's it.
But what is the recruiting calendar?
Wait, more
Real quick,
questions.
Real quick. Recruiting calendar. In the camp coming up?
Yeah, starting. They're in the final week of evals right now, so the first week of June till pretty much the end of June is just kind of hell on wheels. It's like 6 camps between all the different little 7-on-7s and O-line, D-line, and skills camp and kicking camps, and then a lot of official visitors, a lot of unofficial visitors, because remember, July's dead, so they're not hosting kids. So it'll be the busiest 30-day stretch of the Kelly era so far.
Wow, nice. All right, have a great day. Hit
You
that
said
like button and share button.
There's
More
what?
questions.
Yeah, one more from the one in the back.
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I gotta leave too. Yeah.
Hurry up.
You said what? 10 Louisiana probably.
Oh,
on
I
LSU's
got to come
board?
back, and we're talking.
Okay,
that.
perfect. Good tease.
Well, no, because that is a great topic.
We're going to talk about why I think they're okay in Louisiana and why I guess you think they're.
And why I think they're not next on
Jordy's
Undisputed.
freaking out.
Tune in tomorrow. Can you
Bye,
come back?
Shay.
I'll let you know. I'm not committing
Ah,
to that.
yeah.
He's not going to commit to that right here on this
I know.
couch.
I know
I'm
his
taking my
style.
bag
No
We
with
gotta
me.
know right
way
now.
No
I don't
way
know.
that's
I don't
happening.
know. Hit that like
Starting to
button, share
sweat.
button, comment button. Go Chevrolet. Happy birthday to the meathead. Noah is 20.
And
Yeah,
Jim Mora.
no,
I cannot believe he has
Happy
not eaten that cake yet with his
Yes.
hands.
He already ate.
Dive in.
He
Jamil,
already
throw
ate
that in his
100
face.
nuggets.
Happy birthday, Noah. Have a great day. Everybody hit that like button, share button, comment button. Go Chevrolet drives us every day. We'll see you tomorrow.